Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blue Mountain Makes podcast. I'm Mary Lynn, coming to you as always from the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, where I live with my husband, my many dogs, and possibly some baby chicks this weekend. I've got a broody hen, so my neighbor has a rooster, so she kindly donated a few eggs, so in theory we'll have chicks this weekend. She also said that her rooster might be firing blanks, so we'll see. The hen's been happy to sit on the eggs for the last 3 weeks, so it'll be fine. So I have a few finished objects. I know last time that we got together, last time I did a video, I didn't have any finished objects, so I finished everything that, that's not true. I was gonna say I finished everything that was on my needles, but I finished most of the things that were on my needles and cast on some more, as you do. So my first finished object I'm wearing. This is the Salty Air Tee. It's by Samantha Guerin. Let's see if I can stand up. There's a dog behind my chair. This is knit in Pearl Soho's linen quill. I have my notes in front of me. I did the size 3. I used a size 4. Fun story. So you're supposed to do obviously smaller needles for your cast on and cast off, and I didn't bother. I never do for my ribbing. I either forget or just give up. And then for my sleeves, I always use the little like short circulars for my sleeves for pretty much anything I'm doing, and I could not find my size 4s for the sleeves, so the sleeves were done on a 5, and I don't think you can tell a difference. I can't anyway. Maybe a little bit. In any case, nobody's gonna notice but me. So yeah, this was a really fun project. It took me, I guess on June 22nd, and I didn't write, and I finished it July 23rd, so about a month. It was an easy knit. It is my first time using linen quill. I really like it. I was not super impressed with it when I bought it, but having worked with it and now having worn this a couple times, it's very comfortable. It has a really nice drape. I feel like it's a very flattering top on me, and I think it's, you know, it's a round yoke short sleeve sweater, which I have a couple of, so I think a lot of why it's so flattering is because of the yarn I used, which is not to say that it's not, you know, the pattern is not flattering or it's bad or something, but I really like this. I think I will buy linen quill again in the future. Yeah, it's a nice pattern. The yoke is super simple. It's all just yarn overs, slip knits, knit 2 togethers to make the pattern, and it does come down a little far, like, you know, to here. And like, I just got home from work. I wore this to work. I don't have a tank top on underneath of it. I just have a nude bra, and I don't feel like it looks, I mean, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like I looked like I was rolling up in the nude at work. I don't know. I quite like it. It's a great summer top. I'm gonna end up wearing it all winter. I find myself reaching for it quite a bit, and I've also noticed this is my 3rd summer top that I've made in just about the same color. So clearly I have preferences. So that is that. The next thing I finished is my pressed flower shawl, which is not as big as I was hoping it would be, mainly because I ran out of yarn. I don't remember how many, looks really good on camera. I don't remember how many border rows it was supposed to be, but it's definitely more than what I did. So the red color is West Yorkshire Spinners BFL, and the flower color is undyed natural BFL that I spun myself, and they're both supposed to be a DK weight, and I'm still struggling to control the weight of the yarns that I spin, so this was way thicker than a DK weight. Most everything I spin is fingering weight, so for me, I think I just overestimated how much thicker I needed them to be. So I spun 2 skeins. I had half a pound of fleece or whatever fiber, half a pound of fiber, and it didn't go very far because I still have plenty of the West Yorkshire left over. And it clearly didn't go very far because I spun it too thick. Whoops, that's okay. So it's still a good size. Again, the dogs, she was still like right behind my thing. So you know, it's a good size for sure. And I'm always gonna wear this like around my neck anyways. So I'm very pleased with it. It smells so sheepy. It smells just like a bunch of wool. I really love it, and it's very, it's like a woolly wool feel without being too scratchy, but you can definitely tell it's wool. And I love the texture. It's like way too hot to wear this. I've left my windows open, so you could probably hear some outdoor noise, but we finally got a break from the super heat, and it was actually like in the 70s yesterday. So I opened all the windows, even though it rained all day. So everything feels a little damp, but I like fresh air, so sorry about the traffic noise. But anywho, I love the texture that this pattern creates. It's very bumpy in a good way. I quite like it. Will I make another one? Maybe. I had a lot of trouble reading the pattern when I first started this. I kind of gave up, and once you figure out the repeat for the flowers, it's like it's very simple. It's not difficult at all. I just stopped checking the pattern and just kind of knit until I was like, I'm running out of yarn. I should do the border. Oops, it's too late. And then, you know, here we are. It does curl a little too. And I had thought about going back, so I bound off in just the West Yorkshire spinner, so it has a red border just on the bottom. Everywhere else has that, you know, kind of two-toned. It really wants to look at my face. Look at my face. Anyways, it has the 2 colors along the edges, and I had briefly thought about doing a crocheted border. My dog's groaning like an old man. I was gonna do a crocheted border around the other edges to match, but I can't be bothered. It really doesn't bug me when it's on. I don't notice it. I do notice that mistake though. Do you? Whoopsies. That's how you know it's handmade. Yeah, I quite liked it. I've been wanting to make this pattern forever, and I'm glad that I used my hand spun, even though it wasn't like the best spinning I've ever done. It was definitely way too thick. The pattern calls for size 6 needles. I had to go up to an 8. And even that, with some of how thick some of my hand spun was, it was a little hard on my hands. But that's definitely a me problem and not a pattern problem. So, if you're thinking about making it, I say do it. It's great. I just have piles of stuff everywhere. Okay, and then my last finished object is a test knit that I just finished for Hunt Hand Knits. And this is called the, I always get this name wrong, Patchwork Peaks Cowl. I don't know what I want to call it, but that's never what comes to mind first. The Patchwork Peaks Cowl. Eee! It's beautiful. Also, have woven the ends in. Don't look at that. I love this. I have looked at her stuff. So Hunt Hand Knits makes the, she makes a lot of dinosaur patterns. She has a cowl. I think she has 2 sweaters. Pretty sure she has 2 sweaters, and I just really like them, and I've been eyeballing those for a long time, and I've never really pulled the trigger, but I saw that she had this gorgeous color work test up, and so I had to sign up because, you know, Blue Mountain makes mountains. Oh, my neck. I love it. So I used Millefiori. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Barocco Millefiori Light for my multicolor, which is a sport weight, and then I use Vintage DK, also by Barocco, for the gray. The pattern does call for 2 DK weight yarns, but the Millefiori is, I guess it's a single ply. Yeah, it's a single ply yarn, and it gets thick and thin in places. Not too bad, but it was enough that I got gauge fine. I had no issues with it. I think it looks fabulous. I really like it because it looks kind of like the night sky almost. Well, very rainbowy night sky with all of these mountains peeking out. I really like it. So this pattern is coming out, I believe, August 18th to the 16th or the 18th. So very soon. So keep an eye out for it. This took me a couple of days. It's super simple. The chart's really easy to follow. I actually inverted my colors, so she recommends that what I used for the light should actually be the darker color, but I wanted my variegated to kind of be a background, so I had to invert the chart, which was not bad. I just, you know, it's black and white, so just flip the colors and it was fine. But there's a lot of really interesting color combinations that people have chosen, and she did say the biggest thing you want to watch for is like just make sure it's a high contrast, because otherwise some of these little details, like some of this gets lost. I was a little worried when I started because it is a variegated yarn, so the beginning of the variegation was very gray. So as I was doing this, I was like, what if it's not, I don't know, is it not going to be enough? But you know, once I got to the darker bits, it really worked out. I love it. I don't think never made a cowl for myself. So this is my first cowl. I don't really know how to take pictures of it wearing it though, because I feel like, you know, you put it on and it just gets all scrunched up and then you can't see how pretty it is. Don't mind my hair. Ooh. I mean, I could do that. I don't know. We'll see. It's a good way to like hide some acne. Oh. I don't know. I really, really like it though. So if you're interested, keep an eye out. I will have links posted on my Instagram the weekend that the pattern comes out. So keep an eye out for that, or just obviously follow Hunt Hand Knits. She has all the information on there. And I think she's been doing some like sneak peeks. So there's that. Very happy, very glad that she chose me to test it. Needle sizes. I used a 4 for the ribbing and a 5 for the body. Bailey, stop it. She did suggest that you go down an extra needle size for the ribbing at this was the end of the pattern, to stop it from, you know, blowing out from where you've relaxed a little bit during your knitting. You can definitely tell the difference between my top and my bottom, and I don't know if that's just the yarn and a combination of me being more relaxed, but yeah, it's definitely tighter at the bottom. Oopsie doodles. Because what? I didn't listen. I do this every time. I'm like, they know better than you do. Also doesn't help that I'm just lazy. I'm like, I'm not switching my needles. They're interchangeable. It takes like 4 seconds to screw a new one on there. You'd think I'd learn, but you'd really, really think I'd learn, because I tend to go back and like rip out edgings and redo them. And I wouldn't have to do that if I just did it right the first time. Ha ha. So yeah, those are my finished objects for the last couple of weeks. They've been a lot of fun. The cowl was really nice because it was super, super hot for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And even though I have air conditioning and I had the air on, it was just miserable. And I didn't want anything heavy on me. Like, breast flower shawl was a lot. It was very woolly, very warm, and a lot of fabric, and I was pretty done by the time I got to the end of that. Maybe not a summer knit, but speaking of summer knits, I have cast on another Camisole number 4. This is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I'm sure you know, everybody knows this pattern. I have made this before. I made it last summer, and I believe I made it in a size 3 last time, and it was my first time working with knitting for all of pure silk, which is what this is, and it grew on me a lot. So it grew width-wise more than I thought it would. It's done in a broken rib, so you know, I guess you can expect it to have some play horizontally. But that having been said, my straps grew so long that I was tying them in knots, so I ended up having to rip those out, and I took probably 2 inches off of them because they had just stretched that much. And then the body, I wish I could have made it longer, and I would have made it longer had I known I could have gone down a size, because I only bought 2 balls. I used 2 balls of pure silk, and I just knit the body till I run out of yarn. So it's kind of an awkward place to show, but ta-da! So the way that this is constructed, you make your front right, front left, put it all together, and then you make your back right, back left, and then you knit in the round for the rest of the pattern, and then you come back and take your stitches that you have on hold and make straps, and that's it. It's very simple. I mean, it's very simple all the way around, but it's like completely mindless after you've joined all 4 of your pieces together. So that's where I'm at, and this is now my book/TV knitting. Like I said, it's a broken rib. It's a 2x2 broken rib. The thing I love about this pattern is how the cup details are. The last one I made was in like an orangey kind of color, and I have this color. I was kind of like, that would be the 4th thing I've made this summer. That's this color. I had that in my stash, and I also have this beautiful kind of olivey green. This light's not the best for showing it. It makes it's a little more yellow. I'm using a ring light because the lighting in here is atrocious. Is that better? It is better. Yeah, that's a little bit more true to color. So just ignore everything else that's happened so far. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm doing a size 2 this time. I'm knitting it on size 4 needles. Not a whole lot to say about the pattern. Like I said, if you've been around, you've definitely seen it. I do highly recommend it to anybody that's interested in making it. It's not nearly as complicated as it looks, and I think it is very sophisticated when it's finished. I have had people that do not believe that I've made it, like I knitted it. They're like, no, it's not possible. And of course I'm like, do you want one? You can't have one. No, I would make one for my friends that have commented, but they're too nice to actually ask me to make it. So anyways, went down a size. I think I saved like 16 to 20 stitches, I think, maybe more, by going down one size. So I should be able to get a fair amount more length in the body. The one I have now, because it is a little bit blown out, and it I don't really know how to describe it. I don't like the straps that the pattern calls for. It calls for I-cord straps, and I always wear a bra, and I feel like, you know, your bra strap's gonna hang out from an I-cord, and it's gonna be very noticeable. So what I'm gonna do instead of an I-cord is, when I get to my straps, I'm going to add 2 stitches per strap. I don't want to give away the stitch count, it's, you know, paid for pattern, but 2 stitches per strap, and I'm going to knit them the way that Jessie Maid does on her Ripple Bralette, which is it makes more of a flat, it's still an I-cord, but it's more of a flat I-cord, and it still won't totally cover up the bra strap, but I feel like if I do anything too thick, it'll overwhelm kind of the delicate nature of the camisole. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be good. I'm definitely going to do my straps before I finish the body, just because I'd like to, you know, use the yarn I need to use, and then just not have to worry about it, and just knit until I run out on the body. Yeah, so that's that. Kind of looks weird. Not a whole lot of body done. That's all the body I've done. But considering I did both back pieces and in the round knitting last night after work, not too bad. It's a fun pattern. Very, very simple. Again, definitely recommend it. If you've been thinking about it, just do it. That's that. This one, you guys have seen it 1,000 times. We've been here before. Oh, dogs are gonna bark. Don't bark. Don't bark. Ooh. So this pattern has been an ongoing whip for way too long. This is the Bellicor tee by Andrea Mowry. I am finally making progress. I think I'm at the point where I need to split for the sleeves. So it's a bottom up drop shoulder t-shirt, and it's meant to be cropped. I don't wear a whole lot of like super cropped stuff, and I also I'm a little concerned about the stripiness and the high contrast that I went with, because I think I'm probably going to put it on and be like, wow, I look like a blimp. So it's probably going to end up being a yoga cover-up. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I was really envisioning this with like some bibs, but I don't own bibs and we're almost out of bib season, so This has been on my to make list for like a year and some change. This is the second time I've tried to make it with different yarn. This time I am using Hobbies Cotton Mayfair, some hand spun merino, and some more hand spun merino. So this is the contrast color, and this is, well, I guess this is contrast 1. That was contrast 2. I'm knitting on size 4. I'm just breezing through it because I've talked, this is like the 3rd podcast I've talked about it. It's been on my needles forever. So maybe it'll be done next time we see each other. I am concerned of running out of yarn, which kind of was the driving factor behind me saying it's gonna have to be cropped anyways, because that's all I have left of this blue. And I don't necessarily want to have to spin another whole skein. I have to buy the fiber, then spin it just to finish the top bit, because I don't have any more. I'm down to that much of this ball of the cotton, and this is it for the rest. So yeah, I'm kind of this. I'd say I'm over this pattern, but this is at the point where I don't have to give it a whole lot of thought. It's another book knit, so it hasn't been too bad. It's just forever on my needles, and I kind of want these needles for other things. So yeah, I'm making the size 3. Don't think I mentioned that, but that's what I'm doing, and I did not check gauge. Go figure. So I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a wee bit big. It's meant to be oversized anyways, so it'll be fine. Okie doke. Last but not least is by far my favorite. I'm so proud of this. So excited. This is the first project that I'm making completely out of my hand spun that I am very, very proud to say this is my hand spun. So I've been spinning. I bought my wheel at Rhinebeck last year, and my iPad's dying. Yay. Bought my wheel at Rhinebeck. Didn't do a whole lot with it, probably until the new year. So I've been spinning like an absolute fiend between January and now. I've got a matchless that's on order that in theory should ship to me in 4 days. I'm so excited for because I bought it like 6 weeks ago and they took all my money. And I don't have a wheel to show for it, so very excited. But I also think there's going to be a bit of a learning curve with a new wheel, so that'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm very excited. So I am I'm joining the Andrea Mowry Spin It to Knit It Attune whatever. I don't remember what the hashtag is, but it's for the Attune Shawl, and I'm using entirely hand spun. So my first is this Polworth. It's supposed to be a sport weight, is what she calls for in the pattern, but she also specifically says like weight doesn't really matter, it's a shawl, you can do whatever you want. So this is definitely a fingering weight. I have a hard time doing anything with fingering weight, so I guess that'll be a nice goal when I'm learning the matchless. Maybe I'll try doing some, I don't ever knit with anything bigger than a DK weight, so goal will be DK weight. But yeah, so there's that undyed Polworth. And then I also have some Malabrigo Noob, which I have 2 skeins of. And believe it or not, this is the same colorway. I don't believe it because I spun this one first and I really like how moody and dark these colors are. And then I got to the second, whatever, ball, bump, whatever it's called. And that looks absolutely nothing like this at all. So it's like just a little bit of purple in there, but just a hair. So it kind of worked out because I was really worried that these two were going to be like way, way too contrasty, and they were. I say that, it's personal preference, but when I started the shawl and I had that dark purple next to that white, it was like very sharp contrast and I did not like it. So I swapped to this one, and my plan is to, I don't know if you can see it, but down in the very middle it gets dark, so I am hoping it'll fade pretty well into this dark, and then it'll fade back out into that lighter purple, in theory. Bailey, stop it. You're so weird. So, I've made a little bit of progress. You know. Yay! I think it looks so good. I wish that you could like touch this through the screen. This is the softest, squishiest, most cloud-like thing that I've ever spun in my entire life, and I love it. I was really surprised by how soft the Malabrigo was, mainly because it absolutely killed me to spin it. It was horrible. Horrible. I cheaped out because it's like, I think I got it for $16 per braid, and for a hand-dyed braid of merino, it's usually between $23 to $30, depending on who you get it from, you know, and then with or without shipping, that's also on top of that. So I went for the cheaper option, and it's so, because it's all machine dyed, it says it's hand dyed, I don't know how hand dyed it actually is, but it's so compact, the fibers, when you get it, that I steamed it, I pre-fluffed it, I shook it, I pre-drafted, and I still was taking Advil every night to go to sleep because my wrist hurt so bad from just drafting it, and it was bad. It was bad. There were sections that had like a lot of felting in it, so that wasn't too bad because you kind of, you know, you'd see it coming and you just pull the neps out. But yeah. And I know myself, and I know myself well enough to be like, but it looks so nice, and I'll buy it again, and then I'll be like, why did I do this? I know myself, but it does look so nice. And it's so soft. That's the other thing. Like, I would not have guessed when I was suffering through it that it was going to be this soft and nice, and it is a dream to work with as far as knitting goes. Both of these together have been awesome. It's like commercial yarn. I'm so proud of myself. I did it. Yay! But yeah. So, you know, in a month when I'm like, why did I buy this? Y'all can all remind me. It was a bad idea. But yes, so anyways, the way that this is constructed is a top-down asymmetrical triangle. So, you know, top, down. And you have two-color brioche on one side, and then it's very similar to her Cinnabar shawl. And so when this pattern first came out, I did not purchase it because I felt like it was very similar to the Cinnabar. Basically, it's a Cinnabar with a garter border. This side is a little bit different. Again, pay for pattern. I don't want to say too much, but I mean, you could figure it out. But this has more of a ribbed feel to the look of it than the Cinnabar. The Cinnabar is straight just garter rows. And I didn't buy it when it first came out. I thought it was too similar. I couldn't like justify making another one because I already have two Cinnabar shawls. But my second Cinnabar shawl is by far and away my most worn shawl I've ever made. It's the thing I reach for when I'm in the house. It's something I grab if I'm going out and it's gonna be really cold. It's huge. It's like way huge. I think I measured it and it was like 6 to 8 inches longer, you know, this wingspan wise, than my first one. And I hardly ever wear the first one because I used a yarn that I think is too itchy, and shawls, you know, hang in your shoulder or your elbow creases. So all that to say, when she decided to do her spin it to knit it, I had a little bit of reservation, but I am very glad that I bought it, the pattern. I'm very glad that I'm knitting it with what I'm knitting it with. I think it's going to be so soft and squishy and giant and great, and it might become my new go-to shawl. I don't know. And I also don't have anything in purple because I'm not a purple person. I like purple. In fact, I'd say one of my favorite colors is like dark purple, but I don't ever wear purple. I tend to gravitate towards black, white, navy. This color is like as light as I usually get. Occasionally a yellow if I'm feeling fancy. But yeah, now I'll have a nice purple. So, yes, that is all I have to say about that. Oh, I do want to show you the back side. So this is the front. This is the wrong side, which I love because I like to see all that beautiful hand spun. I'm sorry, I just tapped the microphone with the needle. I know that's probably sounds really bad, but it's so pretty. So this down here at the bottom, I actually was extra left over on one of my bobbins that I had to wrist ply from this. So the inside is very blue apparently. And I really like it. It's almost like, kind of makes me think of like sandy shores and beaches. That color there. But it's doing a nice fade so far. It is doing what I wanted it to do as far as the color goes. So we'll see. And I think by the time I get to this really dark, I will probably be at the garter section, the garter edge section. So that'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's also going to be really interesting because I know I have another skein of this done. So I know I only have 4 skeins, and I mean really it's the type of shawl this is, you just go until you're done, and that's how big or small, you know, however big or small you want it to be is how big it'll be. But it'll be interesting to see how I decide to, where I decide to stop to make sure I have enough for that garter edge, because in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, use up your first skein and then you'll have the second skein for the second half. But the second half is so many more stitches that I know I can't do that. So probably I'll stop when I've got like 15 grams or so left of this one, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my update for the week. I don't have any life updates either. It's been pretty quiet, which has been nice. It's been really nice. I do hope I get little baby chicks this weekend though. That'd be really nice. Should give you an update on my sick old dog. She is less sick, still old, but she doesn't have to be in a cone anymore, and she had lost like almost all of her hair from her like hips down. She had like a rat tail going on, big bald patches on her butt. She was chewing all her hair off. She would chew herself bloody. It was really bad. It was like a 6-month-long struggle because we saw 3 different vets, more or less got the same answer from all 3, but different medications. And we finally found this lady who walked in and was like, I love skin. I was like, that's a really weird thing to say, but that's great because that's what we need. And she has her on... She's on 3 different vitamins. She gets special shampoo. She gets special in between bath spritzes, and morning and night medicine, and then also 1 allergy medicine, which it's a lot. It's a lot. Plus we have her on special food, but we had already done that. But her hair's growing back. She doesn't have to be in a cone. She doesn't keep me up all night chewing on herself. I don't have to yell at her all the time because she's chewing on herself. It has been so great. It's nice. Like, it was really nice that the lady walked in and she was like, your dog does not have to spend her final months in a cone miserable, because that was really what had like upset me, you know, because, you know, it's your baby and she was just suffering a lot, and there wasn't, you know, everything we tried didn't really do much good for her. And sure enough, this woman's like, this is what's happening, this is why it's happening, you know, stuff that you're doing has combat, you know, part of it, but not all of it, so we'll just fix the rest and you'll be good to go. And sure enough, so we're on our 3rd week out of a month. It's been great. So yay, if anybody was wondering. Old dog, still old, but less sick, so yay, good news. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. I am going to have dinner with my in-laws tonight and have a beer and some pizza. That will be nice. And then, ooh, I have a dye class on Sunday at my local yarn store. I'm very much looking forward to that. We're gonna dye some, I think probably some like superwash yarns, and then just the lady's gonna take it home and like have to set it on the stove and stuff. But I have been unsuccessfully trying to dye my own yarn for a while now, and I get various results that are borderline terrible most of the time. So it'll be nice to ask somebody that actually has answers to my questions instead of just trying to Google it and figure out where I went wrong. So I'll update you guys on that next time I see you. But anywho, have a great weekend. I hope you do something fantastic for yourself and you're knitting something that you love, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye for now.